So is the platform health management mechanism in this version already, does it support platform-specific extensions for some health indications also from the lower level of the Autosar ecosystem, like from the operating system or something else that I can add these health indications already right now to the platform health management indication level? Or
the good thing is, right, the platform health manager at the moment is not bound to any hardware on any operating system. What we say is there is a health channel and then a health indicator in a specific API. We expect that to come from a sensor, from an operating system, from a human being. It could be even a public API we could get from an insurance company. So because we have statistics out of the last 20 years, because this guy was working, or this guy was already driving in this manner some days ago, and we could indicate that in the platform. It's very generic right now defined. Not bound to any layer like operating system or hardware. Okay. Yes, please.
With the terms reliability, availability, safety and security and so on, is for the health management, is there any priority among the terms?
So not defined yet. So it's quite simple to say we are in the state that the platform health manager and monitor at the moment can say we can do everything on an onboard ECU, but we don't connect the health indicators and don't give them priorities at the moment. And this is for me, and this is a good question, is something like a next step, because we need now to combine 2-3 more ECUs and combine it to the offboard systems, and then create this overall system health indicator. So it's not prioritized yet.
To advance this question, if you combine by this Autosar interface various ECUs and functions, one should ask the question whether it is really possible to define generic priority among the terms and functions.
This is a configuration we could think of. So there's one thing to define something by API, which is bound inside of the code, like an interface you implement against it, and the other side to make it configurable. The point in standardization is, and we know that from the classic platform, the more requests you get to configuration, the more complex it gets. So you must still create a lean API for the application developer, and on the other side, you need to create a configuration that it's extendable and generic. And that's the real challenge somehow. So I remember the classic platform with the ECUC. Every one of you guys who had ever configured an ECUC in classic, there are a lot of requirements bound to this. And this is a historical collection of all the requirements. And this is difficult to understand then if you jump on that later. Okay, thank you.
When you showed this little health green diagram, then clearly you have some outcome matrix practically which you're observing, and I guess there had multiple parts which you just said. But do you intend to practically then create this feeling of safety by kind of making this data available to the user? Or do you rather envision that you have a little green light on top of that AV and you're like driving around and you know when the light goes red, you know it's not good, you know, you're gonna leave the street, or like which way do you?
Yeah, the point, and there's a phrase in the interface paradigm in software architecture. The user of an interface is really kind of open how to use this information he gets. And I think that if you get this information as a clean interface with a good quality, excellent, you can do everything what you like. You can put a green light and say, I'm just informing, or you can do a calculation in background and really maybe changing the wheel, which is really hard with the ASLD requirements we have. But the point is that the technology is really open for such things.
But are you currently as an consortium?
No, we don't. We won't, because it's very detailed in the use case already. Yeah. So what we will do is providing this hopefully clean interface to make the use cases possible.
Thanks. Yes.
I find the idea of platform health indicators very interesting to be distributed maybe later on. And do you think it's a likely situation that you have distributed indicators coming from different sources, maybe from rate my driving skill number you can call or whatever? Do you have any ideas of maybe automated systems or off-board health indication maybe possible or needed in the future?
We can sketch some together, because I think asking this kind of question, you already have maybe some ideas, because if you think of what you're driving with a car and you're coming home, and the soon you are inside of your Wi-Fi, maybe other systems interact with you. Maybe Alexa knows something about you, right? You can maybe provide your health indicator to Alexa, and she can spawn any cloud service in background on that. So there's really a lot of possibilities if you know how trustworthy your system is. And in this case, the system is really inside of the car, and it provides you indication already. And this is what we will do in the standard. And as mentioned before, the use cases are really not bound at the moment on onboard system.
So when it comes to autonomous vehicle, in my opinion, there are two aspects of safety. One is your system can have some faults and your safety is in danger due to the fault. And the second is your system does not have any fault, but somehow it fails to do what it is intended to do. That's why we have the safety of intended functionalities. So exactly. What does Autosar Adaptive provide to address this?
Yeah, so we didn't make up your mind on the SOTIF part, because from my perspective, there's right now on the ISO use case a lot of adaptation needed from the classic to adaptive. And maybe the SOTIF aspects are something 2021 related. But even for 2020, I guess we have a lot of things to do for end-to-end protection, to have PHM running. Maybe we think of something like redundancy concepts, because we see that classic and adaptive in the interaction itself, maybe we don't need for adaptive ASIL D at all, because it always runs with an ASIL D of classic. And this kind of challenges we see as a first step, but then also talking into safety in the SOTIF part. This might be something for 21, I guess.
2021.
2021.
Thank you. Any other question? Maybe a last question?
Question about how to trust your safety or security argumentation. Is there some plan in Autosar to have an available argumentation or something which could be reused in the development for using your architecture, the Autosar architecture?
We have in the safety part 3 groups. The one is the mentioned end-to-end. The second one, which is more and more working on the PHM, with more concepts are coming to the PHM at the moment. And the third group is the safety architecture group that are planning to have a safety overview. We started with a safety concept, then we moved somehow to a safety plan, and then we said, no, it's just an overview. So the point is that you don't really know your context. And if you think of safety element out of context, you need to describe a lot. And to describe all the use cases you have in the industry, it makes it simply unusable. So the architecture you need to provide is only an overview with major safety requirements. We can define that. But going more into the detail, we must leave something also to the serious development, to be honest. So one point in time, just to say,
it's only a platform.
Yeah, so reusable platform. That's it. Thanks for your time and also for the possibility. Thank you.
In this podcast show, we bring in the industry leaders and experts in the automotive domain to share their experiences along their journey. The mission of our podcast is to start a dialogue that will allow us to understand the development of automotive industry and where the automotive industry is going. You can ask questions to our guests directly. Just send us an email to podcast@matrix.de. We'll schedule a call with you during the recording and you'll be part of our show. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any new episodes. Please share this video to help others get enlightened as well, and that would mean a great deal to us. See you in the next episode.